And being careful with your money means tackling our exploding welfare bill. Look, in 2010, the Conservatives undertook commendable reforms to our welfare system. But as time went on, they let it completely spiral out of control. And it's got much worse under Labour. Reform will always protect the vulnerable, those who've worked hard but fallen on hard times. But on current course, 1 in 8 people are set to claim disability benefits in 4 years' time. That's almost 9 million people. The number claiming disability benefits for an attention disorder has more than doubled since COVID. We all know a significant number of these claims are spurious, and that we're just now giving up on over 500,000 young people who are being discarded as unfit to work. So our benefit system is broken. That's not fair, that's not right, and it is an economic and a moral disaster. That's why I commit to you today that if we win the next election, reform will defuse the benefits bomb that is set to bankrupt Britain. We are developing the most comprehensive plan for welfare reform in British politics. Better, more serious, more rigorous than any other of the parties. And we will be setting that out in the months ahead. We will stop those with mild anxiety, depression, and similar conditions from claiming disability benefits, and instead do everything we can to encourage them into the dignity of work. We will reinstate in-person assessments and require clinical diagnosis to weed out those who are choosing a life on benefits. We will end the abuse of the Motability Scheme, where expensive cars are handed out for conditions like tennis elbow and paid for by working people who could never afford those same cars themselves. And we will make sure that only British nationals can claim benefits in the first place. But we need to go further, because at the moment, the system is not fair to those who pay for it. As a signal of intent today, reform is changing our policy on the 2-child cap for universal credit. The policy was well-meaning. We want to help British working families to have more children. But right now, we just can't afford to do so with welfare. So it has to go. As Reform's Shadow Chancellor, I'm ending it. A Reform government will restore the cap in full. We are the party of alarm clock Britain. We are a party of workers and not welfare. And because we're confident about the approach that we're going to take, we are very happy to have others mark our homework. Everything Reform promise will be fully costed. Accordingly, we will retain the Office for Budget Responsibility. Look, it is far from perfect. The Times recently ranked its performance near the bottom among UK economic forecasters. But the impetus for its creation was a desire to instill fiscal rectitude. And that is something that at Reform, we wholeheartedly endorse. So rather than abolish it, we will reform it. The OBR has consistently overestimated the short-term benefits of migration, and they've downplayed its long-term consequences. They've underestimated the dynamic effect of cutting taxes. So we will break up that cosy consensus and ensure it has proper diversity of opinion. We'll run competitions for super forecasters to join the body and pay proper competitive salaries to those who can most accurately forecast the impact of Treasury decisions. And we'll take a similar approach to the Bank of England. Under Reform, the bank will remain independent. The bank has served our country for over 300 years and has been a model for central banks the world over. But the bank must perform better. Its core mission is simple: keep bills down. And yet, for 52 of the last 56 months, inflation has sat stubbornly over its 2% target. Now, that's not all the bank's fault. Furlough played a part, as has some of the excessive public pay settlements. But the bank has taken its eye off the ball. So we will strip the bank of distractions which have been loaded onto it, and that includes the requirement for the bank to help the transition to net zero. The bank must be a more open institution, and the private sector properly represented on the Monetary Policy Committee. But the fact that the bank will remain independent under reform will never stop us holding them to account for their mistakes, like the excessive quantitative easing after the financial crisis and during COVID. Reform's interest will always be keeping inflation low, because we are a party of working people, and that is how we keep working people's bills down. But it's not just stubborn inflation that's leaving working people poorer right now. The state is taking more of their money than ever before. Reform believes that taxes are far too high, and that cutting it is crucial to generating economic growth. We see the value in doing so wholesale, where tax clearly disincentivizes work and investment, and in a targeted way to spur investment in the growth sectors of the future, like the biotech industry. We've already set out how we will save businesses like pubs and farms from taxes that are making their business model impossible. We want a simpler, fairer tax system that incentivizes work, saving, and investment. That means fixing the absurd marginal tax rates that many people face in our country today. So we do intend to review the tax code in a program not seen since the landmark reforms of Nigel Lawson. But we also understand that we can't make tax cuts while running a huge deficit in the vain hope that the Laffer curve alone will do the hard work for us. That is why Nigel drew a line under the previous tax and spend commitments reform had made. As he said in his banking hall speech last year, given the dire state of debt and finances under Rachel Reeves, previous assumptions are no longer realistic. We will never make promises we can't keep to the British people. So we'll only cut taxes when we have generated the fiscal headroom necessary to make those tax cuts sustainable. And to those who question our approach, let me say this. We have seen what happens when this economic rule is ignored and fiscal discipline is thrown out of the window. Liz Truss went down the path of wild spending splurges alongside big tax cuts. The result was chaos. Mortgage payments soared. Working people suffered. Today, I give you my word that a reform government will never play fast and loose with your savings.